born twice. The day I was biologically born, um, the story that I know from my parents is my dad's world was shaken for another girl child coming to his house. And yes, probably from that day, I knew that I have to probably walk that extra mile. From that day, I knew means it's unspoken, right? It's unspoken. I was an infant, but it's unspoken. So that extra mile, walk that, cut that extra edge, do that extra deed, and go on, because my journey of proving starts from the day I was born. And yes, I was born again the second time. I was born the second time, the day I was born as a mother. So when my child was born, I was born as a mother. Amazing things were happening in my life that time. And I was with a big IT giant, heading recruitment, earning a fat check, all luxuries of life, securities of life, I would say, not luxuries of life, but securities of life. You know, I take some sessions with this MBA girls when we speak about entrepreneurship. So I tell them, like, you're so used to that beeping of salary at the end of the month, like, your salary is credited. So it's more pleasing than your maybe boyfriend messaging you, yeah? It gives you good night's sleep. Yeah. So breaking that and becoming an entrepreneur has been difficult. But yes, somewhere as a kid, I think everybody who is an entrepreneur knows somewhere that they are going to be an entrepreneur someday. I call it as an entrepreneur kida. I don't know how I landed in HR. I really don't know how I landed in HR. But yes, I was with a very good company. And when I said that, motherhood, when I said that I was born for the second time, so over the weekend, I realized, I was pregnant. So my P test, I did it on a weekend, and I was very thrilled. I said, wow. So, my place of work was like my second home. I had spent more than 8 years there. My sweat, my blood, every brick, I loved the place. So it was Monday, I resumed work. Things looked different. My own office looked different to me. My responsibilities started going away from me. So I thought maybe that's how it happens to everybody. Maybe that's how we need to adjust. I had my promotion due. The first speaker spoke about promotions. And it was really, as I could relate to her, because I think every story, in some parts, we are relating to one or the other part here. This happened to me. Oh, yes. So my promotion was due, and due in the sense everything was done. It is just a technical part which was remaining to be done on the system. But I was pregnant, so I had to fight for my promotion. So I had to actually fight for my promotion. And then my maternity, I was just, by the way, in the break, we shared all our stories, So most of us, I think, we shared all our stories. So we are an amazing lot of people, I think, who like to speak a lot to each other. So my maternity leave, in fact, started after I gave birth to my child. So I resumed back. When I resumed back, it was worse than my pregnancy. Because I resumed back, neither my desk looked the same, nor the job on my desk. People were different, the same people who were friends, who were colleagues, whom I used to look up to. So there was a lot of assumption I saw. Assumption that probably at a senior role, this shoulders, I don't know, this pelvic who could take so much pain, but this shoulders cannot take the responsibility anymore, I think. There was assumption that probably she might quit. There were assumptions that maybe she might start working from home, and also assumptions that she may not be the primary earner of the house. So my company that way is known for a lot of layoffs. So I knew where it was coming to. Things were changing, people were getting, not rude, but you understand that. And you being in HR, you understand it better, That awkward, there is something which is not spoken. And then there are mails which comes without agenda, I want to meet you. And some meeting schedules which come to you. And suddenly, things like, it's not about your efficiency. It's not about your work. So the brutality of corporate patriarchy. I had heard about it. I had heard stories about it. I knew it exists. I knew they were real, but it suddenly seemed all live in front of me, and I said, oh God, it's happening to me. Yes, it's happening to me. So, yes, I was shattered. I was shattered. I know it was my first day actually after I resumed, and I have locked myself inside my cabin, and I cried and cried and cried. It was a vent out. I said, okay, is this how motherhood looks like? And being a young mother, when you all know the women who have been mothers must be knowing this, you're lost. It's a new role. Like, you are taking advices from everybody, including your house help, including anybody. Everybody is an expert. Do this, do that. Oh, you don't have enough milk, you're not a good mother. You have too much of milk, you're not a good mother. Okay, you don't lie down and breastfeed, sit up and breastfeed, put your one leg up and down and breastfeed. So many advices coming from everywhere. You're totally lost at that point. And yes, as a working mother, it was more difficult because somewhere that guilt comes in, somewhere that probably, if I go ahead in something is going to fall short, and maybe I'm not a perfect mother. From a woman, you become a mother. It just takes a day, and the whole world changes. They put you on a pedestal. You become I don't know what. They put you on a pedestal. They start saying that you're a superwoman. They start saying that I don't want to multitask. I'm tired. I have given birth. I'm tired. I want some time with my baby. I want to understand my natural cues. I want to understand myself. Because at that time, I thought I was too raw. Being a mother, I was too raw. I was too natural. And that was the time that I was speaking to myself. During my maternity leave, I got too much of me time because there was nothing to do. I looked like a penguin moved around. There was nothing much to do. There was no office work. I was a workaholic. I used to, generate work for myself, in my idle time. But this was the time I just got pinned down. And I got me time. I was forced to think about myself. And I never felt so natural in my life, ever. And I started listening to myself. And I knew that I had to do something which was best for me, best for the baby. The first thing I did, I closed my ears to the outside world. I still remember with my mom, there came a group of women who told me, do this, cover your child, feed him like this. And I said, okay, I just closed my ears to the outside world, and I thought that this was the time that I need to focus on myself. I won't say that I immediately jumped into business. I started supporting mothers like me. I'm a very strong advocate and a very active member of breastfeeding support for Indian mothers, where I actually started rendering support for extended feeding, nursing in public, normalizing breastfeeding is what I say. So I started doing that. I felt very good in this new role as a mother. And there came the thing, I actually, I was reading a lot about attachment parenting. So attachment parenting depends upon a few pillars like co-sleeping, breastfeeding, and baby wearing. So while I was, so that's when I did my, I got my first wrap, a woven wrap from US. So when I talk about my creative enzymes, I realized at that time that Asian roots, you said I have less time? Yeah, okay. So, so our Asian roots, we are a lot into baby wearing. So you have seen those carriers? We tie our babies, we carry our babies with us. Yeah? So that was my first plunge. I started weaving those wraps. We are the first company in India which made woven wraps. There were carrier companies which were existing, but not something which used to make woven wraps. So I started working with artisans all around India. I started weaving. Such an amazing experience, because when I started working in that setup, what I saw was inclusivity. We used to weave, we used to sing, we used to feed. Everybody, and we used to do good job. So slowly, I could find myself. From there on, And yes, so I got this. Bring up. Hey, I'm hurrying up. Yeah. So, so when I actually started raising my child, and so much of natural people, so much of natural, I would say that is natural advice. Nobody was there to tell me how to do things, but we were all inclusive. We were all primarily, I would say men, women, both, but supporting each other in a lifestyle which was so basic, which was so human. And I knew that I have to raise my child naturally. So I do talks on, at times on gadget-free childhood. My child is going to be 5 now. He is completely gadget-free, no TV, climbing on trees, completely outdoor child. There's so much that I'm learning from him because that was the only time that I knew that I can learn from him. Because he's the only natural product, I would say. He's the only natural thing in front of me, right? Because we are all conditioned. So my second brand, Almitra Sustainables, came into picture while he was growing naturally. And it started with a toothbrush, and because he got his first tooth. So, I never wanted to put that plastic toothbrush inside his mouth because I knew the ill effects which it can have on my child's health and as well as the environment. So I have been like more than a decade probably plastic-free, at least a single-use plastic-free. But those things were there, but never as something like, I wanted to start, or it was never as something that I wanted to probably do for a greener society. It was just for myself. And somewhere it was also having a good effect on the society. And that's when my second brand, Almitra Sustainable, started. We started 2-3 years back. I didn't even know what's a bamboo toothbrush. And today we are manufacturing bamboo toothbrushes. We are manufacturing reusable straws. We are doing everything to eliminate plastic. And once again, I just want to say that everything, whether the idea of it, whether the direction of it, the purpose, the cause of it, everything dawned on me when my motherhood started. So all that I say, I'm no one to preach, so I would not advise. But yes, especially when you become mother, just that small inwards journey. There's so much of creativity. I'm really telling you, try this. There's so much of creative energy at that time. And if we seriously, because that's when you're raw, that's when you're natural. It's so much of energy, so much of guidance that you will get. And I think motherhood was the best thing that happened to me. And I'm really proud to be a mountrunner. Thank you.